Okay, so good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the next of our PA Forum Lunch and Learn series. This time, we're welcoming the wonderful Ian Dooley from Jigsaw Social Media. Ian has offered to talk to us today about leveling up your LinkedIn game, which I think is such a fantastic topic, and it's something that's really popular, particularly for PAs, EAs, virtual assistants, office managers. Things are changing on LinkedIn every day, all the time. And so it's fantastic to be able to just take some time out at lunch to get an update from Ian and find out about all those things that we could be doing to improve our profile. So Ian, it's wonderful to welcome you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Like I say, I'm not after sympathy because of where we are, obviously. I gather it's still very cold, but we will be back in the UK later on today. But yeah, look, I was really delighted to be asked, Dan. So hopefully we'll find some of the things that we're going to talk about useful.
Thank you.
Shall I kick off?
Yeah, go for it. Thanks, Ian.
Cool. All right. So look, first of all, I just thought I'd give you a little bit of background about me and sort of what I've done prior to doing this. So I'm actually a qualified accountant. I've spent 18 years working in the logistics sector, and I've worked in manufacturing for the NHS and retail as well. Now, normally when I tell people that, they sort of look at accountant and they look at me slightly odd and say, well, how the hell did you get from being an accountant to getting into social media? So let me explain. So when I was working in the logistics sector, we did those awful things called psychometric tests. And mine came back saying that I had an unusually creative personality for an accountant, which obviously I think was a backhanded compliment, but may well have been an insult. I'm not entirely sure still to this day. But that creativity has been a sort of big part of me really from a young age. So while I was working on the finance side, my responsibilities changed a bit to more of a commercial side. So I then gained sales and more importantly, marketing responsibilities as part of that role. I formed Jigsaw with Yvonne, who is outside in the sun, as we know. And we were doing in-house work, but also we were getting noticed by other people who were saying, oh, actually, do you know what? Who's doing your social media stuff? I quite like the content. Any chance you could help us out as well? So that sort of started the kernel of the business. We were doing branding, we were doing presentations, and we were doing sort of general digital marketing support for a small number of customers. My side hustle, my sort of side passion, as like, is I do digital art. So I do these sorts of pictures and sell them through an art website, which I'm happy to give you all the links of later on if you're interested. I suppose that the overall story of that is it's a combination of creative personality, massive eye on the numbers and cost effectiveness, plus the marketing. And that really is the wheelhouse that social media sits in. So that's sort of the explanation. The short version of it is it's me, it's Yvonne, it's 3 kids, and it's 2 cats. That's it in a nutshell. Probably should have started with that, to be fair. So what we're going to talk about today, we're just going to do a quick overview of why you should be using social media for your business activities. Then we'll hone in on why LinkedIn. We'll talk about the various areas on how you can improve your activity on LinkedIn with your profile, how to grow your network and some tips there. The dreaded putting content on to LinkedIn. And then I've got a couple of little secret sauce sort of extras that I'm going to share today that are like little things that we know that not many people are doing. So that'll maybe set you apart, but more of that in a bit. So why bother with social media at all? Given my background, it's no surprise that this slide has got lots of numbers on. The 65 million people in the UK, of which 45 million, astonishingly, are using social media. The key thing is the next bit. 96% of social media users are active every month, and 77% are actively engaging. So they're reading, they're clicking the read more, they're interested in what's going on, they're liking, they're commenting, they're sharing. It's not going anywhere. You know, the average user is on now for 2.5 hours. Hands up if you're on for more than that. Yeah, me. And there's 15 users every single second. I suppose from a business and from a personal brand point of view, the important thing is there's a massive consumption of content. So people are going on and they're looking for things to read, engage with, find interesting, find entertaining. But there's a really low percentage of people who are actually putting stuff onto the platforms. So there's a real opportunity to set yourself apart from everybody else. Why just be a reader when you can actually start contributing to it as well? The reason it works is obvious, but I'll just put this slide up anyway. You can do a post and your immediate contacts will see it. And let's just say that they like it, they might comment, share, engage with it in some way. That tends then to be seen by their contacts, and they might do the same. They might do the same as the other person. So you'll end up with an audience and the sort of fringes of that audience are nobody you've got a direct connection with at all. So your original message or your original post will be seen by people who you have no connection with, just by nature of the way that social media sharing works. And the beauty of it, from my point of view, is that we can actually see what's getting the engagement and do more of it, or we can see what we've put on there that isn't really getting engagement and do less of it. So you can sort of adjust your messaging based on what your audience, your connections are wanting to hear. So it's a really, really powerful way of doing it. So what we're here to talk about, LinkedIn, right, some numbers. Again, sorry for the numbers, I'll get them all out of the way in a second. There are, I think it's actually now knocking on the door of 800 million users on LinkedIn. It's grown astronomically over the past few years. I think only TikTok is growing faster than it at the moment. And I don't know if I think this is certainly true, and it's recognized in the industry. It's a trusted platform. So whereas if you read something on Facebook, everyone goes, oh, fake news, is it legit? Who knows? A properly sourced piece of information or properly researched information on LinkedIn has credibility that the other platforms just don't have. And the key thing, again, from a personal branding point of view and from a business point of view, is that 4 out of 5 of the users on LinkedIn are the decision makers within the business. So the types of people who use it are people who are involved in that decision-making process. So speaking to them is really, really important. And obviously, this is a bit of an obvious one. We've all seen the negative side of the way the platforms change, with people posting photos of their dogs and their cats and their meals and the sort of the Facebook-y type posts. But the real change that it's seen is it used to be that LinkedIn was just for people who were looking for a job. And it's now very much, and LinkedIn are very proud of the fact, it's for people who are actually trying to do business. So it's more of a business platform, business social platform, rather than just a, here's where you put your CV platform. So where does it all start? We all start at the same place, like little babies as we're born. We start with a completely blank LinkedIn profile. And you can use LinkedIn and you can fill in the barest essentials and you can use the platform, and that's fine. But what we want to do is we want to create a little bit of magic, and we want to do a little bit of optimization. And that is what we're going to talk about now. So there are very good reasons why you do it. It's not just me because I'm in social media saying you should do this. LinkedIn's own statistics say that users who've completed all of the sections of their profile are 40 times more likely to get opportunities through LinkedIn. So your content is 40 times more likely to be seen, and it's actively pushed by LinkedIn, if you've actually sort of played the LinkedIn game and filled in all the sections of your profile. And we'll have a look at what that means in a second. You might have noticed on your own profile, LinkedIn kind of gives you a bit of a grade. It's like being back at school, actually, with a bit of a school report. So you start off with a nice blank profile as a beginner, and the aim, if you're optimizing your profile, is to work your way through the more that you complete to the stage of getting an all-star status. Now, at all-star status, that's when LinkedIn goes, fab, you're doing what you need to be doing, and your content and the things that you're doing, the things you're engaging with, will become more visible. The bonkers thing is that half of the users on there don't have complete profiles. Now, quick question, just for on the chat. Have you got a complete profile and completed all the sections? Yes, no, or don't know? Looking now, Dan. Okay, we've got a few yeses, brilliant. Oh, a few no's, 80%. Not sure. See, the not sures are the honest ones. Let's be, because I would have said that, not sure. Cool. Just close down the chat. I see that as a massive opportunity. You know, if you know that by completing your profile, LinkedIn sort of gets you out there more, but you know that half the people on the platform aren't doing it, it's a real opportunity for you and your personal brand. So we're just going to quickly run through 8 changes that you can make to your profile to get you along the path from beginner to all-star. And they start with probably the obvious one, which is, oh yes, sorry, we won't forget the secret sauce. We'll come back to him later. Have a profile picture. Now, there's a big good reason for it and a statistical reason, but again, how many people on here have a profile picture? Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, do you have a profile picture? I haven't seen a no yet. That's a really good sign, actually. Cool. I suppose the next question is your picture one of these? Is it a night out picture, or is it a picture with a dog or something like that? Now, at the end of the day, it's personal choice. You can put yourself onto the platform as you want it, but the recommendation would be that it's sort of because it's a professional network, where what you would typically, if you're going to meet somebody, sort of represent yourself as you would be if you met them. So wear what you typically wear to work. You don't wear a suit, don't wear a suit for your picture. If you do, great. Don't use a picture from when you were way back when. I've had a few of those where we've met customers of ours and you're gone, well, is this even the right person? I don't know. The reason is, and it's again, all of the studies show it, profiles with a picture get 21 times more views of the actual profile, and you'll get 9 times more connection requests if you have a profile. I'm always a little bit sus about people who don't have a profile. No one really likes their own photo, much less their own videos, which we'll come on to in a second, but it works. So if you haven't got your profile sorted, that's the first thing you should be doing. The second thing is the banner image across the top. Now, if you're running your own business, this is the first time where you link your personal profile to your business brand. Even if you're not, this is a great place to put something from your personal brand. How do you want to represent yourself to the outside world? It might be a quote, it might be a message, it might be an image, something that portrays you in the right way. But again, LinkedIn gives you a little tick in the box and goes, okay, they're using the banner image, they're using the profile picture. People recall, statistically, 65% of visual content, or to put that in a picture, because it's probably easy to remember, 65%. So if there's an image there, it's more likely to resonate with people and you will be remembered better. The headline, that's the next section down. So if you think about your profile, it's normally the bit where people go, I am the CEO of whatever business. You get 220 characters now. It's increased from 120, but you get 220 characters. And it shouldn't just be a job title. It should be something that's readable, include relevant keywords that people will be searching for if they're looking for you or your services. And you should add in the important details, your location and your contact information. So any websites, got it on there, get the link in there. If you've got your email address, get it in there. Make your name your name. We see so many people who put everything into this huge, great big long string, but then as soon as you start commenting on things, you're filling up people's newsfeed with a huge amount of sort of smart icons or like little emojis or capitals or waffle. And make your name your name. Use your headline to describe what you do. Here's mine. For better or worse, right or wrong, this is what I use. So straight off the bat, the same, we do social media marketing for business. We explain what it is that we do. We drop in the fact that I've got a finance background in there. It's a clear summary, I think, of who I am and what I do. That's what your headline should represent, who you are and what you do. So the next section down is the about section. Now, if you've got a business, it's a little bit easier to fill this in because you can put a little potted version of your business and sort of address it to a customer. If it's just for you, it's a bit tricky and people tend to sort of copy and paste bits of their CVs into there. I suppose the question to you is just think about who's actually reading it. Who is it for? Is it for a customer, potential customer, for a potential new role that you're looking for? And tailor that section. You can write, I think it's 2,000 or thereabout characters, so you get lots of space. Tailor that section for your audience. Explain what you can do for them. Explain what makes you different. And add some social proof. So we've got a link to our testimonial section on our website to say what our customers, how fantastic they say that we are. And again, it's all about clarity because all of this stuff can be searched, can be sort of used for people who are looking at certain things. We want to make it as readable as possible. So once you've got your headline correct, fill in the details on your about section, but think about who you're writing it for. Experience section. It's not just a CV. And I've said there, you're not after a job, unless of course you are, in which case it's a little bit more of a CV. Even if you are, you shouldn't put the same amount of weight to everything, and it shouldn't be just a generic thing that hasn't changed for years and years. If you're looking for a new role, your experience section should be tailored to the things that the people who are going to be hiring that role are going to be looking for, if that makes sense. So you want to focus on the last 2 positions, and you want to pull out exactly what you've done, how it's relevant to either what you do now, i.e. services that your business offers, or what it is that you want to do. So the employer that you're trying to talk to, if that's something that you're trying to do. But use that experience section in a tailored way based on where you are today, not where you were when you copied and pasted it out your CV 2 years ago. my favorite section of the whole profile, the featured section. So as you go down the profile, there's a section in there that is featured. It's not, I don't even think it's switched on by default. You have to add the section with one of the commands in there. But it's fantastic. You can put in there pretty much whatever you like to represent yourself. So it can be a post that you've put on that did really well. You know, maybe you put something on and it got lots of people saying, oh, that's really good. Then you can put it on there. It can be a link to your web page or a web page. It can be a video. It can be a LinkedIn article, a blog. It can be a photo, anything. And the way of thinking about that section is, it's like a little personalized website, little personalized mini website of the things that you want to show people. And it's really prominently displayed as people go down your profile. So again, if you haven't got that section, you're missing out on a huge opportunity, because we haven't all got personal websites. But this section can really sort of emphasize your sort of credibility and what makes you special. Number 7, I said there were 8, didn't I? I think so. Yeah, number 7. This is a little bit nerdy, I know, but it's another feature that LinkedIn likes you to use, so it kind of gets another tick in the box. A custom URL. So the link that's at the top of your profile, by default, is a bit of a jumbled combination of letters, text, characters, and codes. It would be something like that there with sort of 8263JAGF, etc. Now you can create your own. So ideally, you'd have one that is as close to your name as possible. And where you do that is in the top right of your profile. You'll see a thing called edit public profile and URL. And from there, you get the option to actually edit your custom URL. So you can see there mine, amazingly, there was another Ian Dooley. I thought it was unique, but I had to go with Ian P. Dooley, which is my middle initial. But that then is something that I can use anywhere. I can give that link to anybody. It's easier for searches, it's better for business cards. And again, LinkedIn likes it. So LinkedIn's given you that feature and it likes you using the feature. So we'll come on to and sort of how it sees that. But I'd recommend it if you haven't done it. It's a nice, neat thing to do. People will see that you've done it and they'll think, ah, okay, this person's on it. Always a difficult one, always a difficult one. Asking for recommendations. It's often not a particularly easy thing to do, and it's a surprisingly low number of people who have any recommendations on their personal profile. But the most important thing is to make sure they're relevant. So you want to get them from people who are going to talk about the thing that you want to represent yourself as. So it could be colleagues, it could be customers, could be prior customers, managers, someone who's going to give you a hopefully good recommendation. Do a little bit of text about you, say, this person's absolutely fantastic. This is how I worked with them. The best way of getting someone to do it is to offer to do one for them, or just send them one out of the blue. It's a great way of doing it, actually, and you'll tend to get one back. But you don't need lots. So that's, I think, the important thing to think about. You don't need a whole load of recommendations, but having some social proof there is great because it works. It gives you that credibility that you're looking for. That's the only thing I'd say, be smart. So there's no point getting, you know, a colleague from 10 years ago who was at a junior level, who's got hardly ever uses LinkedIn, but they've done you a recommendation. That's great, but it won't have as much sort of weight as somebody who's actually an active engager and maybe someone who's sort of a credible person within the industry. So again, just be smart about who you're asking. You don't need hundreds, but you do need some. Congratulations, you have just optimized your profile. Those 8 things, I know I've rattled through them a little bit, but clearly the presentation will be sort of kept up afterwards anyway. They're all things that you can do today. They don't take a long time to do, but once you do them, you'll move along that path from a beginner to an all-star, and then LinkedIn will actively go, this person's playing the game. This is somebody whose content we're going to actually not hide away in a corner, we're going to do something with. I haven't forgotten about him. I'm going to come back to him in a second. So why does it matter? Why go through all of this? You may or may not know, but LinkedIn is actually really judgmental. So it is watching what you do. And if you logged on to linkedin.com/sales/SSI, gives you a score. It's a terrifying thing to think about. That's mine. Quite happy to share that, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So it gives you a score, and what it's doing is it's grading you in 4 areas. The one that we've just sort of rattled through then is establishing your professional brand. So you'll get a score out of 25 for each of these 4 areas. If you complete your profile and do all of the 8 things that we've just said, you'll score highly on this. Finding the right people is about using the search facilities within LinkedIn. So search for the right level of connection, the right kind of industry, use those search tools. LinkedIn kind of gives you okay, you're using the search part of the platform, that's great. Engage with insights. It's the biggest thing LinkedIn wants everybody to do, and it's probably the thing that people actually do less of than they should do. It's fine to like something. LinkedIn loves it if you like it with a comment. Commenting is so important. Just that simple act from LinkedIn's point of view shows that you're actually engaging in the process. Again, you'll get pushed up the list. And then building relationships. Clearly, it's building relationships, but it's also with the right people. So people who themselves are either active on LinkedIn or might have credibility or might have a significant sort of following themselves, might be an influencer, whoever it is, the more credible and relevant your relationships are, the higher you get a score. And LinkedIn themselves say that if you can reach the magic number of 70, and I've got to 71 at least for a day, if you can reach the magic score of 70, then you get 45% more opportunities than if you don't. So there's the algorithm is actively encouraging you to do all of the right things. Anecdotally, people do believe that it actually pushes your content up as well and pushes it out to more people, and you appear more on if you like this person, you might be interested in what this person's saying. Whether that's true or not, they obviously keep that a bit of a guarded secret, but it's doing the right things. So it sort of makes sense that it's going to help, but they are quite judgmental. So profile, done, dusted, all-star, smashing it out the park, wicked. Now you need to think about your connections and how you're going to expand your network. Everyone's got a different view on this, so it'd be interesting to see whether or not my view is the same as everybody else. The first thing you should do is find the people that you want to connect with via search function. So, the right level of person, the right type of person, either for what you're offering or for where you're at in your career. So use the search facilities first. And when you send them the request, you've only got one objective, and that is to get them to accept your request. That's it. That's all you're after, is to send something that's going to make them want to go, okay, I'll connect with this person. So look for shared connections. If you've got mutual people that you know, again, you can mention that to them. Say, I'll see that we're both connected with X, Y, Z. The most powerful thing is before you send anything out, start to engage and comment with their content. Because then when you do send them the request, you're no longer sending them a cold request. They're much more likely to actually reach out and sort of accept that request with you. When you send a connection request, always add a message. Don't just send a connection request without a message. You need to put a little message in that says, right, here's how I know you, or here's why I think we should connect. Now, that does mean you can't really do that on a mobile, because as soon as you press the connect button on a mobile, it just sends a connection request. You then have to go back and send a disconnected message, which never works quite as well. So I'd always say, for me, do your connection requests on the computer. It's much easier because you just straight away get the pop-up saying, do you want to send them a message? Yes, I do. Here's how I know you. I do not, oh, this is my real pet hate. Never, ever, 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 ever start selling or pitching within the first few messages. Oh God, it drives me mad. I'm sure everybody has had that person who's, you've had a connection request, it's come in, and like, there's next message to you, or whatever it is, come to this webinar, check out this site, I'd love to talk to you about our product. Whoa, 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 whoa. I did a post a little while ago that was this, because this sort of summed it up for me. This is, a person just coming in saying, right, straight away, I want to sell to you within the first few messages, and it just puts people off. And it's not, I know it's not just me. I don't know whether that's something that, I'll ask the question again for the chat. Is that something that annoys annoys people? Yes or no? It certainly annoys me. Yeah, my people, yeah. Hell yes, remember, absolutely, absolutely. It's just, do you know what? One, it's kind of rude. You wouldn't really do it in real life, but it doesn't work. I can't think of any times when I've actually, do you know what? Yeah, I am going to sign up with that. I don't know who you are or what your view on the world is, but yeah, of course I will. So don't do it. That's the big no-no. So in terms of inbound, and this is a question, again, quick one for the chat. Do you, or should you, do you accept every connection request you receive? And if you do or you don't, what do you base that decision on? Awkward silence while we wait for the chat to fill up. Yeah, you see, someone's just mentioned there, Emma, again, about fake profile, fake, yeah. No, I don't know who they are. No, if I think they're a salesperson. Yeah, absolutely. Now, it's interesting because there are a lot of answers, different answers there. And obviously, I think, Dan, you put your hand up and said, you know what, yeah, generally I'll grow my network because I guess you just never know. And I do get that. I think there isn't really a right or wrong answer to it. I'm not here to say I've got the right way. The only thing, this is the way I view it is you want relevant quality contacts, because that will create you a much better usable network of contacts than people who are just, might not even be real, might be in a completely other side of the world in an industry that you'll never have anything to do with. Chances are they're probably not going to be that useful as a connection. And more importantly, they're unlikely to be engaging with your content because they're not really on the same sort of page as you. So actually, it'll probably dilute your engagement levels. That's my take on it. Again, not saying it's right or wrong, but that's the way I look at it. Okay, so you fixed your profile. You're a LinkedIn all-star. LinkedIn loves you. You've got your connections. Then what? Got to engage. Got to engage with the posts of the people who are actually on there. So it's liking, commenting. It doesn't take a long time, but the right comment on the right post will be seen by other people. And again, people go, oh, that's an interesting point. I didn't see that. If you think back to that original thing about how social media works, you'll not necessarily have a direct connection with that person, but they will see your comments because they're following the person who you've commented on. Scary bit is actually posting yourself. And normally when we talk to people, they sort of go, well, yeah, well, what am I going to post about? It's LinkedIn. I don't know what I'm going to post about. So I've got 3 ideas for you that you can do today. Dead easy. Find an article on LinkedIn and share it, but don't just share it. Share it as a post with your take on it. Just a little line saying, I really agree with this, or I really don't agree with this, whatever it might be. But your addition to it makes it valuable. You're creating a little bit of value from yourself. Do it behind the scenes, whatever you're doing on the day, take a photo saying, oh, look at me, I'm just getting ready for a meeting, I'm doing this, one, the other. People like to see that stuff. They like to see what you're doing, how your work setup is. And I don't know, if you've been on a training session recently that you think might have been really good and people might like to know about it, sure, do a post about it. It's great, you know what I mean. The reason that's important, again, because you've now got this sort of, hopefully, a stream of content that you're doing. So a little bit of posting articles with an opinion, doing a bit of behind the scenes, showing a little bit about what you're about. As soon as you make a connection with somebody, whatever you're doing, your content, your posts are pushed onto their newsfeed actively for a period of time. So I think you get about a week and it will drag up things that you did 2 weeks ago and it will go on their today's post because you've just connected with them. So the combination of a growing network of relevant contacts and posts yourself is going to work. It's going to work. People will see it. If you can, tag the people that you're with. And if you can't or you don't want to tag it, you can always send a link to your post in a message. You don't want to openly tag somebody in something, but you think, I'd love that person to see that. Send it to them in a message on LinkedIn. Thought you might be interested in seeing this post I did, kind of reflected what we talked about the other day, that sort of thing. It should be natural, should be organic. Okay, how are we doing for time? We're doing all right for time, actually. I haven't heard the cleaners yet, so we might be doing okay. There's a couple of things then. This is the, I don't know, but Dan, should I get you to turn off the recording? I'm not quite sure. Right.
What is it here?
Right. You may or may not have noticed, but there's a feature within LinkedIn on mobile where there's an option for you to add in how you pronounce your name. A little recorded thing where if you've got an unusual name, the idea is that you can put it there so that people, when they're talking to you, know how to pronounce your name. Don't use it for that. Use it as a little welcome message. So that if you've actually recorded something, you get a little audio icon that appears next to your name. I'm hoping this is going to work because this is mine.
Hi, I'm Ian Dooley. Thanks for stopping by my LinkedIn profile. If there's anything I can do to help you, just let me know.
Did you hear that? Cool. Otherwise, that would have been a really embarrassing silence there when I'm just looking at myself. See, that's how I've used mine. And again, it's something that just captures people's attention. They go, oh, what's that little audio thing there? And they might even be expecting it to just be how you pronounce your name. My name's not difficult to pronounce, but then you've got a little message, you can do whatever, a little 10-second audio clip. So again, that will set you apart from other people as you're viewing the profile. The second one, and it's my last one, is my favorite. You can create a 30-second profile video that will autoplay on your profile picture when people visit your profile. It looks a bit, I don't know if you remember the pictures in Harry Potter that came to life. Well, it's a bit like that. So here's mine, and it just suddenly pops to life for a second and goes, oh, look at him, he's just talking away there. And the number of people who then click on it, and when you do click on it, you get the whole sort of thing, which mine is this.
Hi, my name's Ian Dooley. Thanks for stopping by and having a look at my LinkedIn profile. I run Jigsaw social media with my wife Yvonne, and we help businesses of all sizes in all sorts of sectors with their online digital marketing, particularly with social media in mind. Social media remains one of the most powerful ways of getting your business out there and connecting with your customers and potential customers. But if you're not sure where to start, we'd be more than happy to have a chat with you and see how we can help. Thanks.
Now, it's a bit cheesy, I know, but it's, again, because it actually auto plays when people go onto your profile, and it works on mobile and it works on desktop. It's intriguing because hardly anybody's doing it. So again, I'd recommend that you get 30 seconds. There's no limits to the amount of takes that you can do. So if it takes you 12 attempts to do it, that's fine. But just try and put something on there that will get people to engage with your profile. Again, LinkedIn loves it. That's all very good, but start with the basics. If you do nothing else from this, start with the basics. So get your profile picture in, get yourself a banner image, the sizes are in the presentation, sort your headline out and your about and experience, think about who you're writing that for, and use that featured section. That little mini website is fantastic, because if you do, you will become an all-star, you will become 40 times more visible, and LinkedIn will love you. I'm going to do a quick pitch before I have to dive off. Not really a pitch, just to let you know about sort of how we approach it. So this is how we approach social media supporting our customers. So the first thing is we clearly have to understand, we don't just go, yeah, we can do social media for you. We understand what the business is all about and what their strategy is, and help them define a strategy if they don't have one. From that, we then decide, well, who are you talking to? What are the messages that you want to get out of there? And what are their problems that you want to help them solve? From that, we'll create a bunch of hopefully engaging content that either makes people laugh, people cry, or makes them think. That's the sort of the idea of it. We'll then schedule that across all the right platforms. We'll use all of the whistles and bells on all of the various platforms, the little things that sort of help it sing a little bit. And then we'll analyze what's working, what's not, and we'll report back to customers to say, this is really working, that's really engaged. Your customers seem to be interested in X, Y, Z, because that provides insight that they don't necessarily know. We do things like branding and supporting presentations, of course. That's just sort of natural sort of part of it. And we do organic and paid content. So some people with us just want to do some paid. So they just say, right, I just want to do some paid advertising on Facebook. Really, really cost-effective way of actually getting out there if you're selling products and things like that. But organic is the long-term relationship stuff. So posting regularly on behalf of you or your business is the stuff that will have long-term results. And the idea is that we do all of that so that the business owners can hopefully focus on their business. Plain simple. That is it. Half an hour, that's not too bad actually. So again, sorry if it was a little bit rushed, apologies for that. But as I say, that little QR code, if you have got your mobile phone handy, feel free, open up your camera app and just point it at that. It should send you to a link on our website, which has got all of my contact details, my LinkedIn, and download me to your phone. So everything on there. So I'll leave that on for a second just to give everybody a chance to hopefully connect it. But yeah, if there's any questions, obviously. Well, I've got 10 minutes before eviction.
No, that's okay. We have got one in the chat box. So we've just got, is it correct that after the first post, others on the same day aren't very visible? So for example, I think, do you need to do 3 posts a day for those posts to be visible?
No, it's more about the engagement. So it's more about putting something on that's interesting. If you put on, doesn't matter how many, if you put on one post, and it's not engaging, and it shows it to a small proportion of your audience. If that gets some engagement, then it'll show you to a bit more of your audience. It'll show you to a bit more. It's not about the numbers of posts, it's about the engagement of each post. So you need to try and make it interesting, relevant, all of those things. And that's where I think having a network of true connections, in inverted commas, better connections, I think it helps, because they're more likely to engage with what you're putting out there.
Yeah, well, they're flooding in now, Ian. So where do you find whether you're a beginner through to an all-star on your profile?
So it should show it as you go down your profile. There's a, I think it does it now in a hints and tips section. So it's around about a third of the way down normally, and it tells you, it sort of does suggested for you, you might want to add something here to your profile. So it's sort of takes you along that path. It gives you a suggestion, and part of that is it'll say where you're at with the sort of all-star rating. They do move it from time to time. It's really annoying.
Okay, no worries, thank you. And what about hashtags? Are they good to use?
Hashtags are really good to use. They're again, they sort of divide the crowd a little bit. LinkedIn, the ideal for LinkedIn is generally considered to be 5 hashtags. Instagram was, you can use up to 30, and the view was always, if you're doing posting on Instagram, use as many as you can. Even that now, people are saying less is more. It's more about the quality of the hashtags that you're using, because people do, I follow certain hashtags to do with, what I'm interested in. And you do see things that pop up just because someone's used that relevant hashtag. So it needs to be relevant to the person who you're trying to get in front of effectively.
Can I quickly ask something? Sorry.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
So when updating your profile to make yourself a star, because at Higgs and Sons, where I work, it used to be Higgs and Sons, it's now Higgs LLP. I literally just updated the name of who I work for, and I started getting emails of everyone, messages of everyone saying, "Oh, congratulations on your new job," and I'm like, I haven't moved. It's just so when you start updating stuff, does it send out messages to everyone?
It does, unless you turn it off. So when you actually go into your employment section and you put in, this is my job and I started it 2 years ago and I'm still doing it today, at the top or the bottom there's a tick box that says share this with your network, yes or no. If you say no, it just updates your profile, doesn't send anybody anything out, it doesn't appear on your timeline, just it's a behind the scenes admin task. But I think by default, it's probably switched on. So yeah, I see that a lot as well. I'm thinking, I know you've been working there for a long time. So
yeah, thank you. That's really helpful.
Brilliant, thank you. Any other questions, please pop them in the chat box. But I just wanted to say, I found recently that there's always been this fine line, hasn't there, between Facebook and LinkedIn, etc. But I found recently that the more personal or the more vulnerable post that you put up tends to be the ones that people really relate to. Yeah. Because, for example, obviously I'll post out about, our events or our awards or whatever, our forthcoming events, etc. coming up. But I did a post the other week and it was about something came up on my Facebook about me when I started my life as a rep, and I posted it out on there, and everyone started commenting, which was amazing. It was lovely. But I didn't expect, I was just, feeling in that space at the time with my head, and I got so much engagement from that. It was crazy.
It's always like, at the end of the day, it's still it's a business platform, but it's a social platform. And I think we could do this exactly the same message for one of our customers, and one will include their picture and one won't. And we've literally done it to do a comparison. The one with their picture on will always get more engagement because people want to interact with people. If it's just a graphical thing with a quote or whatever, it's like, meh, sort of, it gets a little bit of that. So you're right, it's the more organic, the more natural you can be. And that's why I say behind the scenes stuff works really well, because you're sort of showing a little bit about you and what you're up to.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Ian. Anyone got any questions before we wrap up today and we let Ian and Yvonne fly back home?
I can see absolutely no sympathy, and I'm delighted that I can see no sympathy.
I just want to say a massive thank you for today. Thank you ever so much for joining us and giving your time. It's wonderful to welcome you from the sunny Isle of Gran Canaria. That was really helpful. And all I would say is that if you have had time, obviously, if you have got time today, I would really try and do this while it's fresh in your head, because while it's there, and you can watch back the recording, we'll upload that onto our YouTube channel today. And obviously, if you've enjoyed the session today, please share on social media and tag in Ian and Yvonne. They'd love to hear more from you. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a great week.
Awesome.
I look forward to seeing you soon.
Have a good one. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.